Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it was sent to me by one of our brothers. Such a sad story. The message reads like this. Hello brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I have a covenant. I am a covenant keeper. But this covenant that I am keeping, it is not a holy covenant. It is a covenant that is there between me and the devil himself. I went and I sought out this healer, and it was not my idea. It was my wife's idea in the first place. She was the one who said, with all the bad luck that we are facing, it is far much better that we go and try to get something that can assist us. At that time, what had happened was that me and my wife was a very brave woman. She was one of the few women whom I could trust. Like when we would go underground, we used to be illegal gold miners. Me and her, we would go underground, then we would work. There was a time when me and my syndicate, including my wife, found this other rock, and it contained a lot of gold. After the process had been done, when we sold off the gold, then we got a lot of money. Me and my wife, we sat down. Then we said, this money that we have gotten, it is not okay for us to spend this money, because we cannot go underground forever, illegally gold digging up for gold, because it is very dangerous. She then said that she wanted to keep live chickens. Then we will go and sell these live chickens to the illegal gold miners. As for me, I said I'll be selling clothes to those illegal gold miners. But brother Nashi, when the devil is after you, the devil can give you a plan whereby you will think that this plan, it is from heaven, but it will be from hell. After I had helped my wife to start a project, I also bought the clothes. When we were about to go with these chickens, because they were all grown up, we had used a lot of money on them to keep these chickens. It is not easy because they eat day and night. My brother, after we had hired the car, we had already paid off the guy that we had hired for his car, so that we had already found a car, and we had already paid the guy who was going to come and carry the chickens so that we can go and sell them. Then what happened through the night was that there was a snake. This snake entered into that place where we were keeping all of these chickens. That snake, it then bit those chickens, all of them. I think it was only 5 or so that were remaining. That was the first loss that we had. I then said, let me try to go and sell these clothes. When I went to sell those clothes, brother Nashi, for those illegal gold miners to pay me back, I had to go there holding a weapon, and the money never came back to me. We were just struggling. That was when my wife said, it is high time that we try to find someone who can assist us. And indeed, we found someone who was willing to give us some charms that were going to make us rich. What we did, brother Nashi, was that we went there. When we went there, that was when that man said that I was supposed to return back to his place all alone. I then returned back to that place when I had left my wife back home. Then that man said that I want you to buy a coffin, just like that. I was scared when he said that I want you to buy a coffin. He then said, I do not need a coffin. What am I going to use this coffin for? He said that I was not in a position to refuse, since I had already entered into his consultation room. I said, at the place where I am staying, we are all staying at the same compound. What are my brothers and sisters going to say when they see me coming back to the compound holding a coffin? And said that I am going to call that carpenter, that good friend of mine, and I am going to give him some measurements so that he can make a small coffin for you, a small coffin that will be portable. Wherever you go, you can always carry this small coffin. And he said that you are going to stay here until that coffin has been made. That carpenter was called brother Nashi. He was given the measurement, and he said that this small coffin, he could actually make it and finish it off in one day. He went and I slept at that traditional healer's place. The next morning, that carpenter came and he showed me that small coffin. Indeed, it was really small. I was told that I had to go and buy a school bag because I had to hide this small coffin. I went and I bought that school bag, and that small coffin could actually fit inside that school bag. That traditional healer said that I had to go and buy this other lace curtain. In our country, when someone is died, when the person is being buried, we place a lace curtain on top of the coffin. That is the type of a lace curtain that I was told to buy. After I had bought that lace curtain, more rituals were done, and I was told that I had to hide this coffin. No one but my wife was supposed to see this coffin until when it was the full moon. That was when I could come back to him so that we can destroy this covenant. If it was not a full moon, then the covenant could not be destroyed. I returned back home, and when I pulled out that coffin, Brother Nashi, my wife was really shocked, and then told my wife that since we had already entered into the covenant with that traditional healer, we had to finish off this covenant. And the traditional healer had given me an option, and that option was that when it was a full moon, that was when we were going to destroy this covenant, and he was going to let us go. But as for now, we were more like his slave. My wife then said, where are we going to hide this coffin? Because you know our kids, they are very naughty. That was when we came up with that idea of us telling our kids that they were forbidden from entering our bedroom. We only had 2 rooms, and I told her to make sure that none of her friends were supposed to enter into our bedroom until we had destroyed this covenant. Brother Nashi, my wife, as brave as she was, she then took that coffin as well as that small lace curtain, and she hid that coffin underneath our bed, and we waited for the full moon. When we woke up, Brother Nashi, my wife was the one who woke me up, because there was about a ton of money. There was money that was all over the bed. She could not even lift her face up because the money was quite a lot. But then when I woke up, I looked at our bed and I saw that there was US dollars everywhere, a heap of US dollars that was heaped on my wife's body. And my wife said that this money, it is just too much. It cannot be counted. What we can do is that let us take this blanket. She took a comforter blanket and we placed all of that money, the pile of money, on that comforter blanket, and we hid the money inside the wardrobe. We sat down, me and my wife, and we said, this money is quite a lot. If we start doing some developments or buying cars and opening up businesses, then people are going to suspect that we have done something evil. What are we supposed to do? My wife then came up with an idea, and she said, my husband, how about we return back to our ways of illegally digging up for gold? We will go there for a few days, and when we return, we will lie to people that we managed to dig up a lot of gold. That was our idea. We then returned and we rejoined with our syndicate, but my wife, she was then bitten by a snake. When my wife was bitten by a snake, everyone just said, snake, 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 but we could not see where this snake had ran to. Danashi, when I was looking at my wife as we were transporting her to the clinic, I looked at her knee area where she had been bitten by that snake. I then found out that the whole area was turning black, like charcoal black. Her whole body, by the time that she died, she was charcoal black. You could not even recognize my wife. That is the way that my wife passed away. I quickly rushed back to that traditional healer, but before I had rushed to that traditional healer, I first returned back to the compound as if I was informing my relatives about the news of my wife being bitten by a snake. When no one was noticing, I went into the bedroom, I opened the wardrobe, I then just grabbed that comforter blanket that was full of money, and I ran to my friend's house. I then told my friend the honest truth. I confessed to him everything that me and my wife had done. I showed him the money. When I showed him the money, I said, my friend, you are the only one whom I can trust. I want to leave this money with you so that I can return back to that traditional healer, so that the healer can give me some ideas or some charms so that my wife can survive. When my friend saw such a huge pile of money that he had never seen in his life, he was scared. He said that I am poor, I am really poor, but I am afraid to accept this money. What will happen when this money will transform itself and it will become a tokoloshi? Then the tokoloshi will say that you are my father, so give me something to eat. Please take your money, my friends. I will never reveal this secret to anyone. You have not seen me. I have not seen you. I didn't see your money. Please just go. I then took that comforter blanket that was full of money and I went to that traditional healer. I walked, Brother Nashi, through the night. I was never robbed, even though I had this huge sum of money. When I arrived at that traditional healer's compound, the traditional healer said, why are you worried? Why are you worried? You should thank God and your ancestors because you were the one who was supposed to die. I said, what do you mean when you say that I was the one who was supposed to die? Then that traditional healer said that is the reason as to why I called you. I had seen that these charms that we had created, they were going to want blood. That traditional healer told me that this is the reason as to why he had called me and told me to leave my wife behind, because there was a sacrifice that was going to be needed and he had done me a favor. He said that do whatever you can and I want you to follow the rules of this covenant and you are going to enjoy. I then said, what about that coffin that I have left behind? You said that it is not supposed to be seen. Additional healer then used his charms and he transported that coffin from my bedroom into his shrine, Brother Nashi. I then returned back and I found out that my wife had passed away. She had turned pitch black. You could not even recognize her. After my wife had died, that was when I met this small boy. This small boy, he has a body of something like a 7 or an 8-year-old boy, but he is an old man. Then that old man, trapped in the body of a small boy, said to me, I want you to go to this place. That is where you are going to buy a house where you are supposed to stay. When you are there, you are forbidden to return back to this village. That is how I abandoned my children. My relatives, they do not even know where I am. Usually what I do, Brother Nashi, because of stress, I collect these women that love money. Then I just use them so that I can remove this stress of me abandoning my kids. Wherever my kids are right now, they think that their father abandoned them, but I am keeping the covenant that I did with the devil. Dear listeners, right there was a narration of a confession that was sent to me by our brother. Such a sad story.